is Bron Breakker ready to be in the main event picture against CM Punk?
Throw him in the deep end. Let's see what happens. Boom. Let's quit fucking around here. Throw him in the deep end. Let's see what you got, kid. That's it. You've been doing great. Let's go. Let's see what you got.
Let's see what you can give us.
Now, I want to talk about last night real quick.
Go ahead.
Everybody's talking about this Bron Breakker promo, right?
Yes.
What'd you think of it?
I thought it was good.
Good? Stopping it good? Are you going to great?
I'm going to say very good. I thought it was very good.
What made it very good to your ears?
It's funny. I was having this conversation with Paul before the show. It felt real. It sounded real. Like, I love promos where, you know what? Not everything comes out. Or you fumble your words a little bit. You're angry. You're excited. You have a lot of emotions. And it all comes at once into that microphone. It did not sound polished. I thought that was true emotion, and I thought it was very, very good last night.
Two things that we were really high on from last night that were not polished. Didn't feel overproduced. Felt raw and real and organic the way this business is supposed to feel. You know what I loved the most about Bron Breakker's promo? Not one thing about what he said. It's what he did afterwards. He walked out. And he walked out with his own brothers standing in the middle of the ring. He was so fired up. He was so pissed off. He was so out of his mind. So wound up. And I'm tossing this microphone. I'm slamming this microphone to the ground. And I'm getting the frick out of here. Because if I stay in this ring for one more second, I don't know whose frickin' head I'm gonna rip off. That's how dangerous I am at this very moment.
How many times has that happened to you in real life where you're in the middle of a room and you go off and you're just like so fucking and you have to leave. Like you have to leave the room. You have to leave the house because you're so fucking fired up. If you stayed in that situation, you don't know what you're going to do. And you have to walk away from this situation. It's happened to all of us.
Only within the past 10 years have I learned how to walk away. Otherwise, I would stay in that room and just eat your fucking face off. Especially when it came to pro wrestling and if you didn't bring your A game to the table. But now I'm a kind of gentle bully.
You live and learn.
I couldn't tell you a thing about what Bron Breakker said last night. I don't remember any of his words. I just know how he made me feel. And a higher compliment I cannot pay the young gentleman. He made me feel something. He made me feel that he felt fired up and passionate. And he was so fired up and passionate that not even his own handler, Paul Heyman, or Logan Paul, or Bronson Reed could contain him. They didn't even try to call him back. It was just like, let him go. Let him go. Good job, Bron. Let him go. You ain't going to be able to cage this animal. And when I say animal, I'm talking the mix of two animals that make up Bron Breakker. Do you know which animals I'm talking about?
Which animals?
Rick and Scott Steiner. And at times I heard Rick, at times I heard Scott, and it was all channeled through Bron. And you can't go wrong with a Steiner-esque attitude and frame of mind. As long as you're not Scott beating the shit out of everybody like he was in WCW in the back.
Well, I mean, I think the biggest thing you said, Bully, and it's true, I don't think the words he said were important. I think it's more about the demeanor, the way he said it, and the message that came across in his facials and in his actions. You're right. I don't remember what was said. I know he said some words about Punk, and I know he talked about the World Heavyweight Championship, and Obviously the message got across, but he wasn't concerned about hitting a tagline or hey, my trademark is such and such. Let me hit this. It wasn't about that. It was about making his point as about who he is as a performer.
He said you shouldn't be called CM Punk. I think he called him soft ass bitch.
He did say soft ass bitch. That's right.
Now, yelling and cursing, so passe. But when Bron Breakker said it last night, the first thing I thought, by the way he said it and the look in his eyes, I thought CM Punk days were numbered. Because if they let this kid off the chain, he's going to destroy CM Punk.
The first thing I thought of, Bully, it's so funny that you said that. The first thing I thought of is he's going to beat CM Punk in like 30 seconds on Monday Night Raw.
And I would have no problem with it. Because it's what episode of the Masters class always finds its way back into the conversation, Dave?
Shock and awe.
Ding, ding, ding. Shock and awe. Absolute obliteration and destruction of CM Punk in this kid's biggest match to date. You would be sitting back going, what the frick just happened? The same way you felt, and this would be on an even higher level, when Goldberg decimated Brock in 90 seconds. People were like, what the frick? If Bron did that to Punk, overnight, based on what I heard from him last night, based on what I've seen him doing so far, if he walks into that ring and that bell rings and that kid spears CM Punk out of his boots into the third fucking row, throws him back in the ring and pins him, it's going to be huge. And I hope they go in a different direction with this guy. I hope they go in a different direction. I don't need to see that. I don't need to see a wrestling match. I want to see something different. Decimate a babyface for once. Absolutely destroy them. We don't have to leave that for The Rock and for Brock. Give it to this new kid.
Well, it's funny. We had the conversation yesterday, Bully, and we talked about, Cody Roman and it was Cody Roman and Punk at the end of the War Games match, right? And we talked about those are three major players as we get into WrestleMania. We started talking about other names, and we talked about Brock, and we talked about, you mentioned Logan Paul, and we talked about if Seth Rollins is back healthy. You mentioned Jey Uso. Now, if we get what we're getting in this match, you can now add Bron Breakker to that list. You're talking about 9 or 10 names that are in the main event picture of the WWE. This is not a landscape that we're used to seeing in the WWE. When Hogan was on top, it was Hogan and everybody else. When Cena was on top, it was Cena and everybody else. There's legitimately 9 or 10 names in the main event scene in the WWE. It's crazy when you think about the possibility of stories and matches that they can build as we get closer to WrestleMania. They can make Bron Breakker a made guy in Brooklyn on Monday Night Raw.
You're speaking of this, like the tone in your voice is like, they got 8 or 9 guys who are in the main event and they're ready, and like there's almost like shock in your voice.
Because we just don't see it anymore. We don't see it anymore. You would have to go back to the Attitude Era when there were this many guys over at one time.
Oh, you mean the most popular era of the WWE? What's fucking old is new. It works. In the Attitude Era, Guys and gals got over organically. Yes, it was structured, but nobody told Steve to say Austin 316. Nobody wrote it down on paper. It just came out of his mouth. And look what happened. I whispered, Devon, get the table. Devon had forgot to get the... I forgot, he forgot. Whatever it was, doesn't matter. I was like, Devon, get the table. What? Oh my, what the hell just happened here? Holy shit. We just fell into something here. So you just compared these 9 guys of today, 8 or 9 guys, whatever, to the Attitude Era, and look how well it worked. Take the playbook, the blueprints from wrestling history that have worked and reapply them. There's no reason to reinvent the wheel. You just have new characters in the story. Bully Ray is the most generic heel of all time. I just added my flavor to it to make it work. Cody, what playbook did Cody follow?
It's John Cena's playbook.
Does it work?
Yes.
Like a charm, man. So yeah, back in the Attitude Era, Steve, Rock, Hunter, Taker, Cactus, Kane, Jericho. Top guys across the board.
And here's the beauty of like Cody. Everybody said a baby face like Cody would never work in wrestling. That blueprint is passé. It would never work. He's made it work. He's made it work. Because, like you said, what was old can now become new again. Use the blueprint of success. And that's exactly what he's doing. It's just I'm excited as a fan, Bully, because we have not seen this in decades, where there's this many guys at the top of the card. I mean, listen, there's a chance in January in Brooklyn that we might have a new world heavyweight champion. We just talked about, hell, it could happen in 30 seconds. We could have a new world heavyweight champion. If CM Punk lost to Bron Breakker, would CM Punk be hurt 1 inch? No.
As a matter of fact, if you do it the right way, he would gain ground and gain steam because people would be sympathetic to the ass kicking he just took. Destroy him. Absolutely destroy him. Fucking destroy him.
And there's a point, Bully, and I don't know, you just talked about, I whispered, get the tables. Austin 316 just came off the top of Stone Cold's head. I would love it, and I don't know if it's true, and I don't even know if it's possible. I would love it if last night Paul Heyman in the back said, hey, you got 3 minutes out there. Fucking kill it. Do you? All that aggression that you have inside, all that passion you have inside, spit it out in the microphone in that ring. Now, I don't know if that's what happened, but I would love it if that was the case. Where they're just like, hey, Bron, no script. Nothing's written for you. You know, you got a match with CM Punk. You're the fucking guy. Go.
Everything that he said, thinking back, like I said, I can't remember. But if you would have told me it was a bullet point promo inspired by Paul Heyman, I would say, yeah, obviously. And yes, Paul will pull you aside in the back and remind you, here's your opportunity. Here's your 5 minutes of TV time with a live stick. And even though there are 4 guys standing there, the spotlight can be all yours. That's how Paul is a master of getting in your head and pulling the best out of you, even if you don't know that best exists. There are very few of those level of Jedi and Sith left in this business. The ones that can identify the true you and help pull it out. Everything is surface bullshit in pro wrestling. Playing a character. just like in the movies. I don't want you to play a character like you're in the movies. I want you to be real. I want to feel it from you. And Bron made me feel last night. I felt that this was an unhinged kid who could flip at any moment. And the most important thing I felt is I was scared for CM Punk's safety in Brooklyn.